I didn't just wake up one day and decide that I wanted to be a realtor. I put a lot of thought into this and a lot of life's momentum into this to get to where I am today. My name is Danielle Waldera. I'm a realtor here in Hartford County, Maryland, and we're gonna talk today about how I got here. Before real estate, I spent the majority of my career in the financial world and financial institutions, mostly doing collection work. Every time I tell someone that, they make this immediate face when I say I was doing collections, and they go, "Ugh." And I say every time, I really enjoyed it, honestly. I have nothing bad to say about my 10 years in the collections industry. It's just humans talking to other humans that are going through a hard time. I think that's part of what makes me really good at being a realtor, because I can connect with people. And I never made, I guess, your customers, right, the people that I was collecting from, feel like they were bad people. They were just going through a hard time, and it was my job to collect their debt. I made a change from going from a large financial institution to a smaller credit union to get more time with my babies at the time. When I made that shift, the smaller credit union just didn't have the manpower as the larger institution did. So I found myself collecting on a lot of different products and doing a lot of different avenues that came with collections that I didn't have to do before at the larger scale company. When I was doing those other tasks, I got tasked with taking over the mortgage collections, which for that smaller institution meant not just collecting on the mortgages, but like working out full plans with people, processing foreclosures, talking to the attorneys about foreclosures, selling the accounts to different attorneys and different collection firms that had to do with mortgages, speaking to people that were about to get evicted from the financial institution and talking to them about what their next steps could be, how this is going to impact them, what we can do to prevent that. When I dug deeper into that mortgage collections, I learned a lot about mortgages. I learned a lot from the realtors that were helping us at the financial institution sell those homes after the financial institution took a hold of them. You know, they took ownership of that property once they were officially foreclosed on, and we needed to hire a realtor to work through that. And I learned a lot through that process, and it was something that was very intriguing to me. The thought of helping people onto their next step, regardless of what that next step might be. Sometimes it's not always pretty, but it's necessary. I was working at the credit union full-time. Honestly, like, I had a great career path, but I wasn't getting enough time with my babies. My kids were little at the time. When I started taking my real estate courses, my son was an infant. I mean, baby, like 5 months old. My daughter was 2.5. My husband was working nights, and I was by myself a lot for years. And I decided it was time to make a shift for myself and my family to get us in a better position, both financially and so that I could be there more, right, for the kids. And I really pride myself on the fact that I followed through with all that, because I am there more for my kids now. Even though I'm on the phone a lot and I'm not mentally present all the time, I am physically present, and that is something in the corporate world I could never be. After I took my courses, I got permission from the credit union to have a dual career, basically, to be able to sell real estate on the side and still work full time. They granted me access to do that. I got the A-OK from upper management, and about 6 months later, they changed their minds. They said, "Whoopsies, we feel like this may turn into a conflict of interest," even though it's not a conflict of interest yet. Ultimately, we parted ways. They did end up firing me. It was like the nicest fire that you could ever go through. Like, we tried to negotiate, we tried to work through it. They still told me I was rehireable even after firing me, but I was let go because I made the decision not to give up my license. So when given the ultimatum, give up your license and take more money at the credit union, or accept your license and accept an unknown fate, I jumped into an unknown fate. Thank the Lord I did. When I left my job, I had nothing. I was fired. It wasn't like I had a lot of time to prepare, right? So I had maybe 30 days to figure out what I was going to do, where I was going to get these clients, how I was going to automatically pop off from a part-time dual career real estate agent into full-time, full career, commissions only, making enough money to support my family. So nerves weren't even the word. I was crying a lot, I wasn't eating a lot. Like, I was so upset, but I made this decision, and failure is not an option, and there is no plan B, and that's how I live my life. So I was going to go into the office, the real estate office, every day for 8 hours a day, just like I would have gone to my job for 8 hours a day. And I was going to write notes, call people, door knock, schedule open houses, take education. I was going to fill an 8-hour day every single day, regardless of if I had 8 hours of work to do. It was hard, I think, starting out to get people to take me seriously. This was probably almost 10 years ago at this point. So I was a little bit younger than I am today. And I think because of my stature and being, a more petite woman, I had difficulty getting some clientele at the time who would take me seriously. And I actually had people ask me, like, oh, what team are you on? Like, do you do this with your dad? And I was like, why would they say that to me? Why would they think I'm on a team? Why would they think that I'm doing this with a family member? But it was just because I was newer and I didn't have a lot of clout and I didn't have a lot of experience and I looked young, and they just assumed, like, oh, this little young thing, she's gonna help me sell my house? Okay. I think things clicked when a few people gave me a chance. My first transaction ever came from a friend from high school who saw my posts that I was doing real estate full time, and she called me and said that her mom needed to sell her house, and she, remembered me from high school, and we hadn't kept in great, a lot of touch, but she had been following me and knew that I was a hard worker. And once a couple of people give you a shot, things will take off. Like, your reputation will speak for itself, right? If you do good work, if you do things the right way, you will be rewarded at some point in your career. This career has allowed me to show my children what it is to be a true business owner, to be an entrepreneur, someone who is working all the time, but working with a passion and working on something that belongs to you. It's rewarding for a lot of reasons, for the clientele, right? Helping people get into their first homes, helping people through large life transitions, helping people go through really difficult times in their life and really happy times in their life. But personally, having my kids see and learn where the money comes from, how that food gets on the table. And when it's spring break, when my kids were little, I had to take them with me a lot. So we did this together. Like, it was my kids and me, and they learned that the things that we have don't come from nothing. They come from mom working a lot of hours and working really hard, and that is irreplaceable to me. I probably get DMs almost daily from people asking about how to get into real estate. What do I need to do? Or I'm in my classes, I saw your posts. Can you tell me a little bit about real estate? And the first thing I say to everyone is, don't do it, because it's not for everyone. And this business is emotionally and financially and physically taxing. You have to have thick skin, a lot of things to make it through this business. And it's not a business that will reward you financially for several years when you start off. So it feels like for a good solid 2 to 3 years, you're working a lot, you're getting beat up, you're getting spoken to in very strange ways that people think that they can talk to realtors for some reason. Maybe that's just me. And all of that for like very little money. The money doesn't come for years through this business and, through building a reputation, which just naturally takes years. So when people say I'm thinking about getting into real estate, I say, don't, unless you have a plan to be able to pay your bills for the next 2 years without doing this full time, and I can coach you on how to be successful. I can coach you on what to do. And if you do those things, you're gonna pop off, you're gonna fly, you're gonna love it. But most people just aren't willing to do the things, which is why there's an 80% failure rate, because most people will not do the things. So if you're not gonna do the things, don't waste your money and your time. So that's my personal story about how I got into real estate and how I help serve my clients best. If you want to learn more, check out this next video.